Beneath the star-spangled mask of the boys' most famous supervillain lies a fragmented psyche we rarely see on screen. Tonight, we peel back that facade, the fears, the trauma, the desperate yearnings that burn behind Homelander's predatory smile. What truly makes this all-American icon terrifying isn't just his strength, it's his loneliness and madness. Welcome to GOAT Review. At first glance, Homelander is Superman, the golden-haired champion in red, white, and blue. But as one critic notes, that image is a cruel joke. He might seem like Superman, but his personality and enjoyment of killing a lot of people immediately set him apart. In the world of the boys, Homelander was built to embody our hero worship fantasies and our nightmares. By season 5, he even declares himself a deity. Homelander has grown his bod complex from a small g to big G god, demanding not just loyalty, but worship. Yet in private, he's anything but divine. Eric Kripke reveals the truth. Homelander was raised in a lab, alone, terrorized and abused. Even after decades of power, he was a scared little boy then. Now he has all this power, but he's still that little kid. This line is chilling. The monster we see on TV is essentially a scared child grown to titanic size. He never had a mother's love or a normal home, only cold scientists and experiments. That trauma stunted him. Without genuine affection to mirror back his humanity, Homelander clings to the one family he knows, the image of Vought's propaganda. The boy who spent every day alone has never emotionally grown up. In Kripke's words, when Homelander goes back home, he reverts to whoever you were when you were at that home, terrified, desperate, and craving comfort. In fact, Homelander has come to hate his own humanity. Kripke emphasizes he hates the part of himself that's human. That's the biggest engine driving him mad. He saw vulnerability in himself as a defect. Power became his poison and his protection. Every ounce of strength he gained meant further denial of compassion or weakness. He publicly preaches love is human, love is weak, yet secretly burns with rage when he feels human. The more supremely powerful he becomes, violating laws and ethics with impunity, the more unhinged he gets. Power has corroded the last bits of his soul. There is no Clark Kent inside him, only a twisted figure who will forcibly remake the world in his image. Studies of narcissism explain a core of Homelander's suffering. Narcissists build walls that isolate them. Experts note people with such disorders suffer feelings of insecurity and low self-worth that hinder their ability to form genuine connections with others. The very traits that make Homelander a godlike public figure are killing him privately. He is utterly alone. Everyone around him, his teammates, Vought executives, even his own son, lives in fear, not intimacy. He cultivates fear and loyalty, but no honest love. That isolation breeds paranoia. Every whisper is betrayal, every glance a challenge to his supremacy. He projects hate outward, but deep down he dreads abandonment. In Homelander's world, ultimate strength has become the world's cruelest solitude. All this inner chaos is given vivid life by Antony Star. His performance is nuanced and terrifying. One reviewer praises how Star captures the delight Homelander feels in wielding power and his vulnerability when he feels threatened. On screen, a twitch of Star's mouth or a freeze in his eyes can flip Homelander from patrician to predator in an instant. Every subtle smirk is loaded. Is it pity, plotting, or pain? He creates genuine dread with a single intense glare. In one explosive scene, Homelander screams, "I'm better! I am better!" Star's eyes bulge, lips thin into a feral grin, perfectly mixing hysteria and arrogance. As critics note, his nightmarish stare and menacing smile consistently escalate tension. When Homelander unleashes violence, Star's face tells the story of his fractured psyche. Even through CGI lasers, his expression flashes twisted joy and relief as he tortures or kills. One scene's description says it best. Homelander shows brief relief from his pain and twisted, euphoric pleasure on his face. This constant emotional peak, from childlike vulnerability to ruthless rage, makes us hold our breath in every scene. Indeed, many critics agree that this performance holds the show together and gives Homelander real depth. We fear him, but can't look away, because Star makes us feel every bit of Homelander's terror and heartache. Homelander feels real to us. Star has transformed him from a bad hero into a more tragic but still terrifying one, layered with loneliness even as he grows ever more violent. This blend of horror and heartbreak is exactly what makes him one of TV's greatest villains. He isn't a cartoon baddie. He's arguably the darkest possible version of our celebrity culture and authoritarian nightmares. A powerful man who has everything, yet is emotionally a child, is a uniquely scary portrait. Homelander embodies a frightening truth. When someone wields so much power, their inner demons become deadly for everyone around them. He's realistic because at heart, he's broken like any of us, just infinitely stronger. In that, he's a cautionary tale writ large. In the end, The Boys reminds us it is a show about humanity and how power, vengeance, and violence take it away. Homelander stands as that story's haunting centerpiece, trapped in godhood, yet tragically alone. His mind is a battleground of trauma and desire, more twisted than any human could hope. And that is why we leave you with this final image, a god who can never feel godlike. And maybe that's why Homelander feels so unforgettable. Most villains are driven by revenge, or greed, or ideology. Homelander is driven by emotional starvation. Every room he walks into becomes a performance. Every conversation becomes a test. Every relationship becomes transactional. He doesn't know how to exist without control, because control is the only thing that ever made him feel safe. The terrifying part is, he's aware of it. There are moments throughout The Boys where you can almost see him recognizing how broken he is. Small moments, tiny cracks in the mask, a pause after hurting someone, a stare that lingers too long, a smile fading the second nobody is looking. And for a brief second, you don't just see a monster, you see someone trapped inside one. But Homelander can never stay vulnerable for long. The moment he feels weak, the violence returns, because vulnerability reminds him of the frightened child he used to be, and he hates that child more than anyone else in the world. That's why he constantly swings between tenderness and brutality. One second he wants affection, the next second he wants domination. One moment he sounds almost human, and the next he becomes terrifying again. That emotional instability makes him scarier than any superpower ever could. Because you can predict strength, you can predict anger, but you cannot predict someone whose emotions are collapsing in real time. And that's exactly what Antony Star understands so perfectly in his performance. He plays Homelander like a man constantly trying to keep himself together. Watch his eyes closely in quiet scenes. They're never still. Even when he's smiling, there's tension underneath it, like he's studying every person in the room, trying to figure out whether they love him, fear him, or secretly want him gone. That paranoia becomes part of the character's DNA, and Star communicates all of it without needing dramatic speeches. Sometimes it's just a twitch in his jaw, a forced smile that lasts 1 second too long, a sudden shift in posture. It feels frighteningly real because real unstable people often don't explode immediately. Sometimes they stay calm, too calm, and Homelander's silence is often scarier than his rage, because you never know when that silence is about to break. That's it for today. Thank you for watching The GOAT Review. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video.